The bacterial issue, the bacterial infections with their various toxins, primary one being Lyme disease, I treat with a combination of cat's claw,
The cemento. Right.
and noni. Noni is a fruit extract, and these are two specific products. The company is called Nutramedics, I believe, that makes them. They use a special product, a special process of concentrating the active ingredients of these plants in these tinctures. They're quite expensive.
You mean they put the noni and the cat's claw together?
No, they're separate tinctures.
Oh, okay.
Noni one is cat's claw.
Okay.
Noni treats intracellular infections,
Okay.
the so-called L form of infections, the cell wall deficient forms that have entered the cells, which are very, very common in autistic kids.
Okay.
And cemento treats extracellular. Yeah. So in
Okay.
my whole thinking, we always distinguish between intracellular and extracellular. These
Right.
completely different approaches to either one of them, which has been largely overlooked. And so the recipe is quite simple. With the cemento, in general, I start with 5 or 6 drops twice a day. It needs to be in a glass of water. And then, if that's tolerated, we go up with the dose up to 10 drops twice a day in a 4 or 5-year-old kid. But some kids only tolerate 1 drop a day at first, otherwise they get wild reactions with the die-off of the bugs.
Okay.
And I use it diagnostically. I start with usually 6 drops twice a day for a few days. That's a good dose that distinguishes. If they don't get a reaction within the first 10 days, the bacterial issue is not a big issue.
Okay.
But most of them, unfortunately, get a reaction. So I know it is an issue. So it's my challenge test.
Okay.
I'm challenging the system with a strong antibacterial, antifungal agent.
Okay.
And then use it as a treatment for 6 months to a year or so. The noni tincture is given very specifically. You start with, in a child with 2 drops twice a day in a glass of water, given at a different time from the cemento.
Okay.
And then you add 2 drops every week, 4 drops twice a day, and 6 drops twice a day, then 8 drops twice a day.
Okay.
In a grown-up, the full end dose in a 160-pound adult is 42 drops twice a day.
The noni. Okay.
Yeah. Now you can do the math according to the weight of the
Right.
child. It may end up with somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 drops twice a day. Very affordable treatment. Very, very radically effective
Okay.
for that component. For the xenobiotic issue, how to get those out of the system, we only have one solution right now. Well, 2. One is sauna therapy,
Okay.
sweating, heating, and in terms of the biochemistry, it's glycine.
Okay.
More effective than dimethylglycine or more effective than trimethylglycine.
It's
So,
the TMG and the DMG are just,
yeah.
because that whole glycine thing, you
Yeah,
cleared
the
that for me,
expensive-
but
the expensive modifications of an existing principle,
glycine.
and just simple glycine that comes usually in 250 or 500 milligram capsules. And a young 2-3-year-old, I would give 250 milligrams twice a day, usually
Glycine.
before a meal.
What about the people that would say, but wait, you have trimethyl, so you have 3 methyl donors
Yeah.
available.
Mhm.
What would you say to
The
them?
literature that I reviewed really was all done on glycine, on simple glycine. And
Okay.
the people that have come up with these other ideas have not delivered any studies that support that it works the same way.
And you've probably played around with trimethyl and dimethylglycine,
Yeah.
and you
Mhm.
have never
Yeah.
seen anything better than the glycine?
Yeah. I like the trimethylglycine because it's also marketed under the name betaine, and under that name it's very cheap. Under the name trimethyl, the same biochemical compound under one name is very inexpensive, under another name is very expensive.
Like Kleenex and tissue.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you like betaine, especially betaine HCl.
Yeah, I like to turn on the digestion by using betaine HCl because of the parasite issue and the viruses and the leaky gut and all the issues that are there. And in that product, you're automatically getting enough glycine to fulfill the
Xenobiotic.
criteria for the xenobiotic. So I'm using a digestive product for a whole different purpose in the back of my mind. You know? And so
So
Whatever they-
inexpensively, you get the betaine HCl, which is for hydrochloric acid, but they shouldn't be scared of that.
No.
All you're trying to do is take it 10 to 15 minutes before the first bite of food,
Before they
and
eat. It makes them really hungry, makes them digest the food beautiful and extract the minerals and the amino acids much better out of it. So rather than giving even more minerals and amino acids, we have the body absorb from the food that is eaten the appropriate amounts. You know, so it's a very elegant solution to use betaine HCl. So in that case, I prefer the trimethylglycine because it's already in there. But if it's not given that way, I prefer just to use straight glycine.
okay.
This is pretty much covering like sort of the major aspects, you know, of the detox. Let me see, we did the heavy metals, the xenobiotics, we did the molds, with the fungi. For the electromagnetics, the detox, interesting enough, is heavy metal detox. When somebody has been in a disturbed electromagnetic environment, what it has created inadvertently has mobilized metals in ways in the system and redistributed it in ways that is not natural.
Okay.
And so these people suffer from all sorts of medical symptoms, and they need the heavy metal detox to undo the electromagnetic field effect. Yeah.
Okay.
So to detox the electromagnetic field, number one, get out of it. Number two, you have to do heavy metal detox. Yeah.
Dr. Klinger, what do you use as your scientific basis for the whole concept of electromagnetic
Well,
problems?
there is a lot of literature in Germany, the whole body of literature on the biological effect of electromagnetic fields.
Okay.
And so it's just in this country, President Bush early in his presidency has declared it is illegal, it is not possible to sue a company for damage caused by electromagnetics. He passed a law that actually makes it impossible to even bring up the science on it. So if you just build a $1 million mansion, and tomorrow the cell phone company comes and puts up a cell phone tower right in front of your bedroom, and your kid starts having seizures the next day and slowly dies over the next 3 years, you cannot even go to court to bring that issue up. There's a law that prevents that. And so this is the way the US has dealt with this, and therefore the whole science is
Dead.
in its
Do you consider-
infancy, and there's no funding for science. However, fortunately in Russia, and China, and Germany, and Austria, Switzerland, there's a lot of work going on, and the science is getting harder and harder on the detrimental effects.
Do
of
you
it.
consider the science over there conclusive at this point, or do you
Yeah,
think it has
no,
more
no.
work to be done?
It's been conclusive for quite a while.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fair.
yeah.
We just have to translate it from German.
No,
It's amazing
no,
that
this
we
guy.
would ignore that.
Yeah, no, this guy.
Does
Robert,
it amaze you? It
This
doesn't
guy
amaze
Robert Stella has done a wonderful literature search on the hard peer review literature on all these issues, and it is very conclusive right now.
That's fair.
That means there is many scientific, biological, molecular studies showing the detrimental effects of it, and there's not a single good study that shows the safety of it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just expert opinions that kind of say, oh yeah, it's safe, because we've never seen any problem. But there isn't any good studies that show it's safe.
Very
You know,
good.
there's been a few studies done by the industry with funding of the industry, the electric industry, GE and so forth, to show that it's safe. But the studies are extremely flawed from a scientific point of view.
I'll be there.
Yeah, so
So just to go back to practical application for these parents, if from what I've learned from your Healthy Home Conference and from you, it sounds like the 4 biggest offenders that parents need to be aware of in their home is the use of wireless transmission in their home,
Yeah.
either with a cell phone or
Computer,
their
wireless
computer, internet access, or their telephone that doesn't have a cord. I guess I'm just portable phones, like your 900
That's on
megahertz, whatever.
900, and the wireless internet is on the 2.4 gigahertz.
mhm.
Now, I'd be interested to know, would you support one that's on the 5.2 gigahertz versus a 2.4?
Yeah.
Or do you think that they all are bad?
No, not necessarily. The wireless internet is interesting. We installed it here in the office after I've tested in various ways with various patients. We couldn't find any detrimental effect. However, what I want to say is that the industry has not paid for a single biological experiment or
No,
study
they have
to
not.
prove any degree of safety of these things. And as it is in general, these things 20, 30 years later all turn out to be mistakes in the past. So they may have hit by accident a frequency that doesn't have a biological resonance,
Right.
but it would be a beneficial accident.
Yes, sir.
It would be completely random stroke of luck. And so, and I'm refusing to, I'm looking there and they're going to say, listen, moms, it is not safe. You have an autistic child at home, you do not get wireless internet. Unless we've had this for 10 years and there's at least one study that's done well that shows it's safe.
The same with 900 megahertz portable phones.
No, they've been proven to be very damaging.
Oh, they have already had
Yeah,
proof there.
that
Okay.
study is out, yeah.
So just to finish the list, one of the most EMF perspective, that gives them sort of
Yeah.
a starting place. Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So where are
Okay,
we?
so now, what
I
this...
think we should take a break.
Yeah, what this
You agree?
concludes, let me just kind of
Okay.
summarize, what this concludes is we looked at the 5 different issues of toxins and damaging things that come into a child, and then we looked at some of the simple mechanisms that we have so far to clear that up after stopping exposure, how to clear that up. And I only give you sort of like the highlights to not get lost in the abundance of it all.
Right.
And now what we will do in the afternoon, we will look at, with your guidance, at all the other issues which I consider secondary. Yeah, we're looking at now, okay, this process has done some damage in the system, and now the kid is not utilizing amino acids, they have viruses in the gut, they have viruses in the brain, they have many different bottlenecks in the biochemistry where a product is building up that isn't metabolized properly, and then the product will find other ways of being broken down that creates abnormal metabolites and so forth. All this is secondary, and I want really kind of moms to, and scientists that listen to this, get the idea that what most people concentrate on in autism are the secondary fallouts, because the refusal to look up here, the simple process that's causing the whole thing.
Right.
You know? We're refusing to look there because it leads politically to some very unpleasant questions that need to be asked. You know? The question basically is, can we sustain the lifestyle that we're having? The autistic children are basically telling us that they cannot handle the world that we have created, the way we're living. And they're the canaries in the coal mine telling us that. And the unpleasant question, when you look at these primary issues that cause autism, when you look at them, the question, when you follow that through, is why do I live in a heavy metal contaminated region? Why do I have amalgam fillings? You know, why does my neighbor spray insecticides outside my house, my garden, it blows in my direction, and I have no legal recourse to take to stop him from doing that? Why does the cell phone company erect not only a tower on this side of my bedroom, but also on that side, and I have no legal recourse to go against it? It brings up all those issues, and therefore it has been politically incorrect to look there. And therefore I spent a day and a half now just elaborating on this principal mechanism. It is very simple solutions, but uncomfortable. What is comfortable to all of medicine is all the secondary stuff.
Right.
Because that's where a lot of money can be made.
That's where the money is.
People need lifelong of amino acids and supplements and all kinds of diets and all that. But let's look at that this afternoon,
Okay.
you know, and let you guide me through that. And
I believe it when I see it. No.
No,
Teasing.
I promise you, from this on, I just be sort of responding to your questions.